Welcome to richplanet.net, the program which aims to uncover the truth behind the alien and UFO mystery. I'm Richard D. Hall, and this week's program is about aliens. I will be looking at evidence and testimony which suggests that we have been visited by several different races of alien, not only in recent years, but over thousands of years. What do they look like? Where do they come from? How do they behave? What do they eat? And would you invite one home to meet your mother? This question depends entirely on the type of alien we are dealing with. To get the ball rolling, let's look at some of the witnesses who have provided testimony about the existence and characteristics of aliens. Clifford Stone worked for an elite team in the US Army with a top secret security clearance. Stone was involved in the recovery of crashed or shot down UFOs. The team's job was to secure the crash site, remove all of the evidence and transport it to secure military bases away from the public eye. During his long career, he experienced 12 crashed UFOs and witnessed alien bodies on some of these craft. Clifford Stone also claims that the US government has a book entitled the EBE Guidebook. That stands for Extraterrestrial Biological Entity, and this book describes the physiological characteristics of 57 species of alien. Clifford Stone also visited some of the deep underground bases where aliens are believed to reside, and he has confirmed that reptilian beings do exist at these places. The bases are 2.5 miles deep and are several cubic miles in size. There are believed to be many throughout the world, with notable ones at Dulce in New Mexico and at S4 in Nevada. Thomas Costello worked full-time at the Dulce underground base. He has given extensive descriptions of various aliens, including the small grey, the tall grey, and the reptilian beings. Bob Dean was a sergeant in the US Army, and because of his cosmic top-secret clearance, had access to a document entitled An Assessment. This document concluded that in 1964 there were 4 known groups of extraterrestrials visiting Earth. Robert Collins served in the US Air Force in the field of avionics. He has given information about various aliens believed to have been captured by the US military. The information he provided was about the small grey, one of which survived the Roswell crash and was kept in captivity by the Americans for a few years until it died. Phil Schneider worked for the US government on black ops as a geologist and structural engineer. He had a top security clearance and had access to sensitive information about aliens. 3 months before he was murdered by the government, he described an encounter he had with 2 tall grey aliens. What now follows are detailed descriptions of 7 different species of alien, which have been derived from these witnesses' testimony and various other pieces of information from within the UFO community. As you would expect, they are small and grey, between 3 to 5 feet tall. They are erect standing bipeds, which means they walk on 2 legs, with a very large head containing 2 brains. Their heads are larger than a human's head, with no hair, eyebrows, or eyelashes. They have large black opaque almond-shaped eyes, which are slanted at approximately 30 degrees, and have vertically slit pupils. Their eyes are described as being very creepy, and make a lasting impression on people who have seen them. Their heads are domed and look similar in shape to a human fetus head. They have spindly arms and legs and a thin torso, slightly resembling a praying mantis. Their long hands reach down to their knees when standing with their arms by their sides, and a small palm leads to claw-like spindly fingers. Normally they have 2 short and 2 long fingers, but some only have 3 fingers. Their skin is slightly reptilian in texture, grey in colour, and tough. Small feet with 4 small claw-like toes complete this insect-like creature. Internally, they have a non-functioning digestive system, waste products being secreted through the skin. How do they behave? They are extremely logical beings and have a love of technology. Religious activity annoys them. Any activity which does not have an obvious logical context confuses them, which means they have no sense of humour and don't understand poetry. Their movements are very slow, deliberate and precise. Although they have high intelligence, they do take a long time to make decisions. They are believed to possess a telepathic ability, which as a group gives them a collective consciousness. What are they up to? Some types of small grey work for the draconian reptilian alien and are subservient to them. Small grey aliens are involved in several unpleasant activities. They abduct humans for genetic experiments and mind programming. They use implants to monitor humans. Attempts by humans to remove these implants have sometimes resulted in the death of the human. After many years of practice and research, they have become experts in the manipulation of both the human body and mind. One of their projects is to create a new type of being, the human grey hybrid. It is the small grey alien that has been recovered from UFO crashes such as Roswell and Missouri. What do they eat? Blood and other biological fluids is the mainstay of the small grey's diet. They abduct human beings and certain animal, usually cattle, to make these fluids. The formula they produce includes amniotic water. This is the nourishing and protective liquid contained within the womb of a pregnant woman. Blood plasma and several other soft tissue body parts which are raw, usually from a cow or bull. The Grey's requirement for bovine innards explains the thousands of mutilated cattle which are found all over the world. The mixture is a nearly clear mixture with a texture of pureed peaches. They try not to consume this substance around humans because the odour is totally obnoxious to us. Another chilling part of their diet is a substance which is generated by the human brain when we are under stress or in fear of our lives. Phil Schneider claims they consume this substance like a recreational drug, as a human would use cocaine. The substance may well be a hormone and is sometimes known as life energy or soul energy. Where do they come from? The small grey comes from the constellation of Zeta Reticulum, which is 39 light years from Earth. They originate from the fourth planet around the second star of Reticulum. This is only observable in the night from the southern hemisphere. Would you invite one to meet your mother? Definitely not, bearing in mind that the small grey is quite happy to extract your soft tissue organs and all of your blood, then liquidize this into a protein drink for its afternoon refreshment. They can also exercise mind control, and they stink. As you would expect, they are large and grey, between 6 to 8 feet tall. Their height is often exaggerated by humans when describing them. They are erect standing bipeds and generally look similar to the small grey. Their heads are large with no hair, eyebrows or eyelashes. Their skin is extremely pale in colour, almost white. It is possible that this race is actually a hybrid of the short grey and a taller race. The nose is much larger than that of the small grey. How do they behave? They have similar characteristics to the small greys, are less vicious towards humans, but still considered hostile. What are they up to? The large greys have an overseeing role over the small greys. They are known to have carried out diplomatic activities and missions, such as negotiating treaties. It is the large grey species which met with President Eisenhower in 1954 and formed the Greada Treaty. This treaty gave the Greys permission to abduct cattle in exchange for technology given to us by them. They share the same interest as the small grey in areas such as genetic experiments and mind control. What do they eat? They presumably have a similar diet to the small grey. Where do they come from? The large greys originate from a planet orbiting a massive red star named Betelgeuse in the Orion constellation. This is 427 light-years from Earth. The star is viewable in the sky after midnight between east and southeast. Would you invite one to meet your mother? No. The very sight of a tall grey would probably give your mother a heart attack. They also smell very bad and have been known to attack humans with a radioactive blue beam. The reptilian stands between 7 and 8 feet tall and, as expected, has the look of a reptile. They too are erect standing bipeds. The head is slightly conical in shape and has 2 bony ridges riding from the brow across a back-sloping skull. There appears to be no bridge between the eyes. The nasal openings are at the end of a small flattened nose and are described as 2 small slits that slant upwards in a V formation. Small openings can be seen on the side of their heads, but no ears as such. The eyes contain vertically slit pupils with a flame or an orange-coloured surround. They have wide lipless mouths which contain various types of teeth, including fangs. Some have thin fleshy spines under their chin. Their skin is scaled, usually greenish-brown or light grey in colour, and hairless. The scales on their backs, thighs and upper arms are quite large, with hands, abdomen and face being covered with smaller scales, allowing more flexibility. Reptilians' bodies are lean and firm with powerful arms and legs, long arms and 3 fairly long fingers and an opposable thumb. The feet have 3 toes and 1 recessed 4th toe that is toward the back side of the ankle. Claws on the hands and feet are short and blunt. They do not have teeth on their upper torso and there is no navel. How do they behave? The ruling caste of indigenous reptilian consider themselves to be the genuine natives of the earth and humans to be squatters. A group of reptilians is known as a hive, and the race is absolutely void of any care, concern or compassion for human beings. The worker caste can be friendly as long as they are allowed to speak first. They will answer if you address them, are very cautious beings and consider most humans to be hostile. They usually seem surprised when they find that most humans are open and trustworthy. The working caste is generally used for physical labour, and they have a no-nonsense, get-back-to-work attitude. They have a different attitude to time than humans. It is not as important to them in the way that it is to us. What do they eat? Meat, insects, and a large variety of plants, including vegetables and fruit. They prefer their meat raw and very fresh, but have learned to enjoy some cooked meats, like rare beefsteak. Unlike the greys, they eat frequently, and usually carry or send for food during their breaks. The ruling caste is very secretive about their food, preferring to eat in private. They enjoy much of the same food that humans do, and are often seen secretly munching on a freshly found snail. Where do they come from? Earth. Yes, Earth. An ancient extraterrestrial race of reptilians inhabited the earth many years before man. Would you invite one to meet your mother? You could possibly invite a worker caste home for tea, only if you had established some trust first with it. This would involve being totally subservient and only speaking when spoken to. You would need to warn your mother of the guest's appearance in advance. That is, a 7-foot-tall lizard, and then ensure that she understood not to speak first. There are 2 main types of Draco-reptilian, the kayaker and the warrior caste. The warrior caste Draco, pictured here, is a 7 to 8 foot tall biped and is feared throughout the galaxy for its fighting ability. It has vertically slit pupils and skin similar to that found on the stomach of a lizard. The kayaker Draco is considered to be the royal line of the Draco reptilian race and range from 14 to 22 feet in height and can weigh up to 1,800 pounds. They have winged appendages and are described as awesome and look remarkably like a dragon. Dracos are not seen as often as other reptilian aliens. They are similar in appearance to the indigenous reptilian, but do have distinct physical differences. The Draco has wings, whereas the indigenous reptilian does not. The wings consist of long, thin, bony spines or ribs that protrude out of the back. The ribs are adjoined by flaps of leathery dark skin. Normally, wings are kept in a retracted position. Another physical difference to the indigenous reptilian is that some Dracos have horns. They are located and develop midway between the brow and the top of the skull. Horns are conical in shape and have blunt tips. The Draco reptilian has a much more athletic build than other reptilian beings. Their upper torsos are extremely lean, and their neck muscles splay out from the base of their jaw to their shoulder blades. How do they behave? They are extremely intelligent, clairvoyant, and can be very sinister. According to the Draconian worldview, they were the first intelligent species in the galaxy and seeded many worlds with their biological offspring. They therefore see themselves as the natural rulers of all reptilian-controlled worlds such as the Earth, and view humans as an inferior species. What are they up to? These aliens are in command of the Earth-based reptilians. The Earth-based reptilians are in turn in command of the large greys, who are in command of the small greys. The Dracos are interested in harvesting the Earth's resources and ensuring that these resources are efficiently exploited. It is rumoured that the Draco reptilian species are involved in controlling human beings who hold high office and therefore controlling institutions and financial systems. What do they eat? Their diet is similar to the indigenous reptilian, which includes lots of fresh raw meat. Where do they come from? The Draco reptilian originate from a planet which orbits Alpha Draconis, which is between Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. It is viewable in the northern evening sky between north and northwest and is 215 light years from Earth. Would you invite one to meet your mother? No, the kayaker type would not fit inside your house. The warrior caste has the strength of 10 men and could kill you in the blink of an eye. They are very human-like, erect standing bipeds, but with a slightly reptilian look about them. They vary in skin colour. Some are red, some are beige, some are black. They have a very high forehead, which is almost cone-like. The planets around Sirius B are occupied by reptilian and aquatic beings. How do they behave? Their society is more motivated by political thought patterns, and they are not religious. What are they up to? The Sirians are believed to have played a role in providing exotic technology such as time and interdimensional travel to shadow government agencies involved in both the Philadelphia experiment and the Montauk project. They were supposed to have had a role in the technology exchanges to help the US develop a military capability against future alien threats. The assistance involved biological weapons research, and it is claimed that the Ebola virus was given to the government by the Sirians. These beings are believed to have access to some sort of time travel which allows access to key points in time. Where do they come from? Sirians are from the Sirius B star, viewable from 5 AM in a southerly direction, just above the horizon. This star is only 8.6 light years from Earth. Would you invite them to meet your mother? Possibly. Their appearance would probably be acceptable, and they are rumoured to have had communication with humans in the past. They are human-looking, and are so named because they resemble Nordic, Scandinavian or Aryan racial images. Their hair is blonde and eyes are blue. They are tall, some guess at 11 to 13 feet tall, statuesque and attractive. How do they behave? Nordics will not break the so-called universal law of non-interference. This is a law which is known about throughout our galaxy, which states that different races should not interfere with each other in any way, whether to benefit them or otherwise. They have a high regard for life. What are they up to? They choose primarily to just observe. Perhaps their motives are to create a harmony between the different creeds of the galaxy. What do they eat? One thing is certain, they do not eat other races of alien. Where do they come from? The Nordics come from the Pleiades star cluster in the constellation of Taurus. This is viewable from the northern sky after midnight between east and southeast and is 385 light years from Earth. Would you invite them to meet your mother? Yes, absolutely. They are polite and don't interfere with human affairs. They are very large, 6 to 8 feet, possibly 9 feet tall, and human in appearance. How do they behave? They are religious, but this does not necessarily mean they are benevolent. They have been known to be violent. What are they up to? They periodically return to the Earth to determine how effectively Earth's resources have been utilized by humanity and by those extraterrestrial races playing a role in managing humanity. The Anunnaki visited Earth around 300,000 years ago and allegedly helped to create man by interfering with evolution of an ancient version of man. They did this in order to create a race of slaves, the human race, in order to carry out mining activities on Earth. The Anunnaki are involved in influencing long-term human evolution through elite groups, systems and institutions, and by influencing human consciousness. They may be in competition with the Draco-Reptilian for control of the Earth. Where do they come from? Nibiru, which is an undiscovered planet within our solar system in a highly elliptical orbit. It has a 3,600-year-long orbit. Would you invite them to meet your mother? Possibly. They are human in appearance, but very tall. There is not much known about how violent they may be. They allegedly met with the ancient Sumerian people on Earth thousands of years ago, who considered them to be gods. There are known to be many other types of alien in addition to the ones I've described, some of which are hybrids, including human hybrids. Bear in mind that the information given here could just be a fraction of what is known by the US government, or should I say, the secret divisions of the US government. It is incredible that such earth-shattering information can be kept secret. To reside, and he has confirmed that reptilian beings do exist at these places. The bases are 2.5 miles deep and are several cubic miles in size. There are believed to be many throughout the world, with notable ones at Dulce in New Mexico and at S4 in Nevada. Thomas Costello worked full-time at the Dulce underground base. He has given extensive descriptions of various aliens, including the small grey, the tall grey, and the reptilian beings. Bob Dean was a sergeant in the US Army. Welcome to richplanet.net, the program which aims to uncover the truth behind the alien and UFO mystery. I'm Richard D. Hall, and this week's programme is about aliens. I will be looking at evidence and testimony which suggests that we have been visited by several different races of alien, not only in recent years, but over thousands of years. What do they look like? Where do they come from? How transported to secure military bases away from the public eye? During his long career, he experienced 12 crashed UFOs and witnessed alien bodies on some of these craft. Clifford Stone also claims that the US government has a book entitled the EBE Guidebook. That stands for Extraterrestrial Biological Entity, and this book describes the physiological characteristics of 57 species of alien. Clifford Stone also visited some of the deep underground bases where aliens are believed to. How do they behave? What do they eat? And would you invite one home to meet your mother? This question depends entirely on the type of alien we are dealing with. To get the ball rolling, let's look at some of the witnesses who have provided testimony about the existence and characteristics of aliens. Clifford Stone worked for an elite team in the US Army with a top-secret security clearance. Stone was involved in the recovery of crashed or shot-down UFOs. The team's job was to secure the crash site, remove all of the evidence, and